Welcome to a very international Real Deal today. I am on the banks of the Crocodile River where it joins with the Komati River. Mozambique is about a kilometre in that direction. This is the Crocodile River behind me, teeming with crocodiles and also not so friendly hippos. There is no fence up between me and the river, and if I start running because I see Rodney who's recording run, then you know why. Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Australian census and what came up between the census, which basically covers 2016 and 2021 and what happened in between those years. Now, Australia has a very concentrated population on the eastern seaboard of Australia. We all know that that's where everything is. The jobs, the good weather, and certainly the better farmlands. And that's why so many people gravitate towards those places. And of course, we've recently seen a little bit more popularity with the regions on the eastern seaboard of Australia, people moving to areas like Lennox Heads, Ballina. In Queensland, we've seen a big migration of people out of Brisbane towards the Sunshine Coast and the Gold Coast, and those areas becoming very popular because of the option of being able to work from home and commute. Now, millennials have done this predominantly because of the cost of property in the city and wanting their children to have those lifestyles that they really have always dreamed for them, that they can't afford closer to the city. Now, speaking of millennials, let's talk about how many of them actually are in Australia. There's about 5.4 million of them, and many of them are now upsizing out of apartments, out of townhouses, wanting the house and wanting a little bit more space as they're beginning to have children. Now, 13% of baby boomers, who are typically their parents, are involved in raising these children. And it's very interesting to note that baby boomers are also on the move, but they tend to be downsizing, selling up the big mansions, but wanting to still stay, interestingly enough, in the same location. And we're seeing so much of this, particularly in Brisbane. They're wanting the culture, they're wanting theatres nearby, they're wanting the restaurants and the coffee shops, and they want to be near their friends and good healthcare facilities. So we're seeing a lot of them now beginning to move into upmarket townhouses and units in certainly excellent locations. So let's talk about households in Australia and how many of them actually have children living at home and don't. Well, 53% of all households in Australia that are family households have children living at home. Yes, I am in that percentile, and 47% of them don't. Now, unit living in Australia is still on the increase. In fact, there's been an 11% bump in unit and apartment living despite the pandemic. So it's interesting to note that people are finding this as a very affordable option. And as you know, there have been very few unit blocks built during the pandemic. Perhaps certainly a great thing to consider investing in, and we're also seeing outstanding yields as well. So yes, apartment living on the way up, there's been an increase there, but the big question is how many people in Australia, population-wise or percentage-wise, actually rent, and who own and who have mortgages. And this is very surprising to note and may explain why I don't think we're going to see anywhere near a property bust. Australia's situation with regards to privately owned housing is extremely healthy. 31% of all Aussies have achieved the great Australian dream and own their own home outright. Perhaps this is why we are so unlikely to see a massive decline in housing pricing, or certainly a massive market correction. 35% of the Australian population have mortgages and 30.6% of them rent. So that's your wrap up for this week on The Real Deal. I will see you very, very soon back in Australia, back at Open Homes, but always feel free to reach out for me if we can help you with your property needs. And great to see my team doing wonderful things back home, listing and selling houses this week, and lots of excitement going on. And on a private note, this is up for sale, and this is one of the reasons we're back here, to help the family get involved in the sale of this beautiful property. There's actually a house behind me, and there's also on a separate title about 36 chalets, part of a 26, part of a going concern. I better get my facts right. Well, lovely to hear from you. It's early in the morning, the sun's coming up, we have a beautiful day ahead of us, and you're winding down, and I wish you a wonderful weekend. God bless.